Hello YouTube ladies, gentlemen and peeps, welcome back. I'm your host MrRandomUHD. I hope everyone is well and having a good week so far, and today is Thursday and that is Throwback Thursday, people. Yes. And let me bring up the window so you can see what I will be reacting to. Here we go in just a second. And yeah, as you can see, I will be reacting to 15 most dangerous places to be on Earth. So yeah. Sit back, relax, enjoy. Grab your favourite beer, beverage, pop soda, tea, coffee. You know the drill by now, as always. Got my tea. Cheers. Cheers. That's the stuff. So without any further doodah diddly day, should we just jump right into this, shall we? Okay, let's do this. In 3, 2,
There are plenty of places on the planet that are perfectly safe to be. The places in today's video, not so much. Whether it's inhospitable climates, toxic gases, blazing fires, or death-defying drops, these are places you'll definitely want to avoid if you value your safety. So let's begin this one. These are the top 15 most dangerous places to be in the world. Number 15. The Danakil Desert. Desolate, drought-ridden, arid, hot. The Danakil Desert. It checks all the boxes for a completely uninhabitable environment. And as if that weren't enough, the desert is also in a volcanically active area. So yeah, it's one of the harshest climates in the world that also has the threat of an active volcano erupting and spewing out lava. But wait, there's more. Did I mention the toxic gases?
No.
The desert's located right in a region full of sulfur vapors and geysers that spit out toxic gases. So, it's unbearably hot, in the vicinity of an active volcano, and toxic. Yeah, the Danakil Desert is located in Ethiopia in the Afar Triangle. Covers more than 50,000 acres of land, and the temperature rarely drops below 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Plus, this area receives less than an inch of rain per year. But good news, the area, one of the lowest points on Earth, is slowly sinking, and the Danakil Depression, which is in the northern part of the Afar Triangle, will one day fill up with water and a new ocean or lake is going to be born. Well, according to scientists. So, the Danakil Desert, it won't be dangerous forever. Just give it another 10 million years or so.
Okay.
Number 14. Lake Natron. At first glance, this lake looks more like something out of a sci-fi movie than it does an actual lake. But rest assured, Lake Natron is a very real lake, albeit a dangerous one. The lake's located in northern Tanzania, northwest of the city of Arusha. The lake's 34 miles long and 14 miles wide, and although it boasts a pretty cool red color, the lake is toxic. This lake has a crazy high level of something called natron. Natron is a sodium carbonate decahydrate, and this something means that the waters in the lake are highly corrosive. In fact, the lake is so corrosive that it can literally burn human eyes and skin. The lake sometimes reaches pH levels of over 12, so needless to say, this corrosive lake is not really conducive for a fun lakeside family outing. The caustic nature of the lake comes from a nearby volcano, and water from the lake travels throughout the volcanic material from springs and streams before it hits the lake. This red hue of the lake also comes from red-colored bacteria called cyanobacteria, who surprisingly thrive in the lake's supersalinated caustic conditions. Lake Natron can also get really hot, like 120 degrees hot. So the heat, coupled with the corrosivity of the water, has caused many animals to perish in there. Beautiful but deadly. Lake Natron is not a place you want to be.
No.
Number 13. The Devil's Pool.
Devil's Pool.
If taking a dip in a natural pool right at the edge of a massive waterfall is your cup of tea, then you might want to consider heading over to Devil's Pool in Zambia. For most of us, though, pictures of death-defying tourists taking selfies at the waterfall's edge is enough to send us running for safer ground. This Devil's Pool is near the majestic Victoria Falls, and this is a one-of-a-kind infinity pool. It's accessed by swimming in the Zambezi and then slipping into the swimming hole. These falls are no joke, though, as 500 million liters of water cascade over the falls each and every minute. The Devil's Pool is guarded by guides who take daredevils into the pool. Victoria Falls is a stunning sight, to say the least, as it's the largest sheet of falling water in the world, and hundreds of thousands of tourists travel to the falls every year to witness the splendor and grandeur of this natural waterfall. There are many ways to witness the falls, from the knife-edge bridge, from the bottom of the gorge, even from the plane or a helicopter.
That's crazy.
But for whatever reason, some people prefer to immerse themselves in the experience by looking at the falls from the edge of Devil's Pool. The pool itself is about 10 feet deep, and it's surprisingly calm. Only a small and narrow rock ledge separates the pool from the colossal drop. The pool's closed when the flow is too high, and although there have been no deaths officially reported while under the watch of a guide, the Devil's Pool at Victoria Falls is clearly not for the faint of heart. Number 12. The Gates of Hell, Turkey. The Gates of Hell, or the Turkmenistan Darvaza gas crater, as it's officially called, is a deliberately dangerous place. And by that I mean it was set on fire on purpose. The Gates of Hell is not actually a descent into the bad place, but is rather a natural gas field that has an underground cave. To prevent the methane gas from spreading, geologists lit the field ablaze. That was in 1971, and the fire's been burning ever since. The Gates of Hell are located in the Karakum Desert, about 161 miles north of Turkmenistan. This crater, which is 230 feet in diameter, burns continually as its heat spreads out across a large area. The scene is everything you'd expect from something that bears the title Gates of Hell, complete with boiling mud, angry flames, and sinister crevices aglow. Needless to say, this hot spot has been a hot spot for tourists over the years, but it's clearly one of the most dangerous places to be on the planet. Number 11. North Yungas Road. Any road in the world can pose a threat, since car accidents are one of the leading causes of accidental death in the world. But when it comes to the most dangerous places to be, I suggest steering clear of the North Yungas Road. Also known as Death Road, North Yungas Road is in Bolivia, and it's laden with hairpin turns and death-defying drops. The road's 43 miles of pure danger, with cliffs that descend 2,000 feet. And if a 2,000-foot drop isn't enough to keep you off this road, the road is also plagued with frequent fog, rushing landslides, and even waterfalls. So just how dangerous is the Death Road? Well, up until 1994, there were roughly 300 drivers killed while driving on the road every year. One of the biggest problems is that the road is very narrow in places, so passing oncoming traffic is nearly impossible. It was also the only road that connected Coroico to La Paz, but that all changed in 2009 when the government built a new road at a close-by mountain range, and the North Yungas Road was given new pavement, drainage systems, and much-needed guardrails. Even with the safety upgrades, though, North Yungas Road is still very dangerous and continues to be a road that claims quite a few lives annually. Number 10. Oymyakon. We all know Antarctica is cold. We equate the frigid and isolated continent to glaciers, snow, and all things sub-zero. But Antarctica isn't the only deathly cold zone around. Oymyakon in the Oymyakansky district of Russia is one of the most dangerous places on the planet because of its extreme climate. The village is home to around 500 people, and these people have somehow managed to carve a life for themselves despite the frigid cold. And when I say cold, I mean cold. The temperature in Oymyakon can drop as low as negative 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which means there's no vegetation in this area. Nothing can grow with a temperature so low, so food supply is a very real concern for the people who call Oymyakon home. Furthermore, residents can't really welcome visitors since most people can't travel there safely because, well, they'll freeze. In fact, it's so cold that indoor plumbing freezes during the winter, so people in the town rely on outhouses. And the majority of their diets consist of meat, like reindeer, because there's no vegetation. Oymyakon is widely considered to be the coldest inhabited place on Earth, and while people who live there know how to live there, most of us wouldn't survive. Number 9. Death Valley.
Death Valley.
When the word death appears in the name of a location, it's a pretty safe bet that it's not somewhere safe. Death Valley on the border of Nevada and California is one of the hottest deserts on the planet, with an average temperature of 108 degrees Fahrenheit. The scorching heat of Death Valley is enough to stop anyone dead in their tracks. Its highest recorded temperature was 134 degrees Fahrenheit, which is officially the highest temperature ever recorded on Earth. The heat hit in 1913, giving the infamously hot deserts of the Middle East and Africa a run for their money. The valley was named after a group of settlers who became lost in the desert around 1850. Thankfully, they were lost in the winter and only one person passed away. The settlers were saved and escorted back to safety, but as they left, one of them bid the desert farewell by saying, "Goodbye, Death Valley." The name stuck. Death Valley is a geographical region of extremes. It's 282 feet below sea level, and Badwater Basin in Death Valley is the lowest point in North America. There is more than 1,000 miles of road that weaves through Death Valley, so people can visit it, but those people are warned to take caution. Due to the extreme heat, it's recommended that you don't stray too far from your car and that you bring plenty of water. Oh, and if you come across an area called Devil's Golf Course, put your putters away. The area is named that because only the devil could play golf there. It's a scenic area full of jagged spires that makes a much better photo op than it does a fairway. Number 8. The Skeleton Coast. Known by the indigenous sand people as the land God made in anger, the Skeleton Coast is part of the Atlantic coast of Namibia. The climate is very, very inhospitable, as the coastline is plagued by high winds, drought, and heat. The surf on the beach is constant and heavy, and as such, there was a time when it was impossible to launch from the shore. The only way to get out was to trudge through miles and miles of marsh and then through a hot, arid desert. This was before engine-powered boats, of course. The entire coastline is uninhabited and very desolate. In fact, the only man-made thing along the shore are the remains of ships that have wrecked there. Other than the wrecked ships, the only other thing in sight are animal bones, hence the name Skeleton Coast. There are bones for miles on the Skeleton Coast, as many different types of animals wander the shoreline looking for some marine grub, too. Lions, hyenas, cheetahs, giraffe, and even elephants have all been seen wandering the Skeleton Coast, as well as hundreds of thousands of Cape Fur seals. But since the Skeleton Coast has been described as close to our planet gets to the mythical end of the Earth, it's not a popular place for people. It does see some surfers, though, and other thrill seekers from time to time, but it's highly recommended that anyone who goes there exercise extreme caution and go with a guided tour. Number 7. Madidi National Park. Madidi National Park covers about 11,000 square miles along the Amazon River in Bolivia. It features dense forests filled with all sorts of flora, fauna, and yes, predators. The protected park was established in 1995 and is one of the most biologically diverse places in the world. It's also one of the largest protected areas in the world, too. There are around 270 different types of mammals, 200 species of amphibians, 200 species of reptiles, and upwards of 120,000 species of creepy-crawly insects. Many of the plants are toxic and can cause rashes and allergic reactions. Many of the insects can kill and or paralyze a grown human. Many of the mammals are predatory and dangerous. In fact, it's sometimes said that everything that is natural in this park is poisonous. The dangers of Madidi National Park cannot be overstated. Anyone who chooses to visit here should really only do so with a tour guide. But even then, given the high number of poisonous, venomous, and toxic creatures and plants, no one's safety is guaranteed. Stunning? Yeah.
No
breathtaking
thanks.
in its untouched beauty? Sure. But highly, highly dangerous. Number 6. Bolton Strid. Rivers, they come with their own inherent dangers. Fast-moving currents, whirlpools, hidden debris, and undercover deadly reptiles are just a few of the dangers lurking in some of the world's rivers. But they don't call the Bolton Strid the Killer Creek for nothing. Bolton Strid is a section of a river in England. It's widely believed to be the most dangerous stretch of water in the world. So if you thought the Amazon or Nile River was a force to be reckoned with, then think again, as this narrow and small stretch of river has claimed the lives of countless people. The river itself is 65 miles, and parts of it are picturesque as it winds and weaves through some lovely, quaint English countryside. But there's a stretch of the river that's so dangerous, should you accidentally fall in, your chances for survival are next to none. In fact, according to the locals, 100% of people who have fallen in at Bolton Strid have died. 100%. And sadly, a lot of their bodies were never recovered. The river's about 30 feet wide at the mouth of Bolton Strid as it flows easily along. But then, suddenly, the water is squeezed through a tiny 6-foot channel, causing the water to pick up immense speed and to thrash from side to side. Whirlpools are aplenty, and the rushing water can easily pull under a person. So, if you ever find yourself walking along the river, beware the Bolton Strid. Okay. Number 5. Valley of Death in Kamchatka, Russia. I don't know about you, but I probably wouldn't seek out any area called the Valley of Death. The Valley of Death is a volcanic gorge in Kamchatka, Russia. This peninsula in Russia's far east is very remote. The area is also known for its beauty too, and snow-blanketed volcanoes that spit out molten fireworks. This area is home to a plethora of species that scurry and scavenge their way across the remote landscapes. There's one specific region, though, that poses a threat to any animal unlucky enough to cross it. In the Valley of Death, animals enter, but they really never come out. The valley is littered with animal carcasses, preserved from the cold. The area was widely unknown until 1975, when some researchers stumbled upon the strange valley riddled with unexplained animal corpses. There were no external injuries to these animals, so scientists studied the area to find out what was killing them. The cause of death? Poisonous gases from the volcanoes. These gases accumulate in the valley: hydrogen sulfide, carbon disulfide, carbon dioxide, and sulfur dioxide. The valley's only about 1.2 miles long and about 1,600 feet wide. It's taken the life of many bears, wolverines, birds, foxes, just to name a few. As such, the valley's closed off to tourists and can only be viewed from afar, since the concentration of gases trapped in the valley are potentially lethal to anyone who wanders in. Number 4. Shark-infested waters. Alright, let's be clear. Sharks don't attack nearly as many people per year as some people believe. In fact, there's a lot of other deadly marine life out there that cause much more rigmarole than sharks actually do. We're looking at you, jellyfish. But with that being said, there are some beaches that have a higher than average number of shark attacks, or the most shark attacks in the world. Take Port St. John's Second Beach, South Africa, for example. It's been called the most dangerous beach in the world for shark attacks. One of the reasons that this beach is deemed so dangerous is that every single shark attack here has resulted in a fatality. This is usually not the case with shark attacks. According to sources, there have been 13 shark-related fatalities in the area since 1990. So Port St. John's Second Beach takes the cake when it comes to fatal shark attacks. But when it comes to shark attacks in general, then the record goes to New Smyrna Beach in Florida. New Smyrna Beach is a mecca for unprovoked shark attacks. There have been more than 300 unprovoked shark attacks in that area in the last decade. And while most of them didn't result in fatalities, the injuries were often pretty substantial. Another dangerous area known for shark attacks is Recife in Brazil. In fact, the beaches of Recife have one of the highest areas of attacks per square mile in the world. This number has increased drastically since 1992 thanks to nearby construction, which has displaced the sharks and increased boating activity, which has drawn the sharks to that area. And finally, Gansbai, South Africa, is another hotspot for cage diving because of the high concentration of great white sharks. And while cage diving is generally pretty safe, anyone who chooses to swim freely in the shark-infested waters will put themselves at risk.
Yeah.
The area is known for unprovoked shark attacks too. Watch out. Number 3. The killer exploding lakes. Unknown to most, there are 3 exploding lakes in the world: Lake Kivu, Lake Nyos, and Lake Manun. All 3 of these lakes hold the possibility of something called a limnic eruption. A limnic eruption, also called a lake overturn, is a very rare type of natural disaster in which dissolved carbon dioxide suddenly erupts from deep lake waters. When it does, it forms a gas cloud that's capable of suffocating wildlife, livestock, and yes, humans. For a limnic eruption to happen, the lake has to be saturated with gas, either CO2 or methane. Basically, deep within the lake, the water absorbs these gases. The lake won't explode without a trigger, though. Landslides, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and even severe storms can all trigger the explosion. When this eruption happens, it causes a massive CO2 cloud to form above the lake, which then expands to the surrounding area. CO2 is denser than air, so the cloud sinks to the ground, causing potential CO2 poisoning. And although a limnic eruption is very, very rare, they have happened in the past. On August 21, 1986, a limnic eruption occurred at Lake Nyos in Cameroon. The eruption caused the release of 300,000 tons of carbon dioxide, and the cloud traveled at 62 miles an hour and then dropped down on nearby villages. It was a catastrophic event, and a degassing system was put in place to reduce the levels of CO2 in the water to help mitigate further eruptions. Needless to say, being in the vicinity of an exploding lake is probably not somewhere you want to be, especially since these lakes can literally explode without warning. Number 2. The Urta Ale volcano. Being near an active volcano is not a good idea. When a volcano erupts, it causes mass destruction with very little time to escape. In fact, some of the worst natural disasters in history have been caused by volcanoes. Fire, molten lava, toxic gases. When volcanoes erupt, it truly is the stuff of nightmares. But not all volcanoes are created equal when it comes to their danger factor. Why? Because some volcanoes aren't just prone to spontaneous eruption. They also have lakes of lava. Yep, lava lakes. They're pretty cool. They aren't common. There's only 5 known volcanoes with lava lakes in the world.
Okay.
But one look at a lake of lava and you can see why these volcanoes pose a significant threat. But let's up the ante a little bit. This volcano sees your lava lake and it raises you another. The Ale volcano has not just one, but 2 lava lakes, doubling down on its danger factor. Located in the Afar region of Ethiopia, the Ale volcano is one of the most dangerous volcanoes on the planet. This one has 2 lava lakes in its summit crater, and the amount of lava in these lakes is constantly changing. The volcano is 2,011 feet high, and the lava lakes are known to overflow on the south side of the volcano. When they overflow, they do so without warning, so you can see how dangerous this thing is. And since it has 2 lava lakes, it's especially significant. Plus, Ale holds the world record for the longest existing lava lake. The volcano is often called the Gateway to Hell by locals, although its name means smoking mountain in Afar language. The volcano is constantly erupting, but there's little known about this dangerous basaltic shield volcano since it's located in an extremely inhospitable region, and it's very difficult for scientists to access and study this unique volcano. So it's highly unlikely that anyone would find themselves in the vicinity of this thing if it erupts, which is a good thing, because one look at those lava lakes and you can see why this is one of the most dangerous places on the planet. Number 1. Snake Island, Brazil.
Snake Island,
Even if you
Brazil.
wanted to visit this next location, you can't. Snake Island in Brazil is so dangerous that visitors are completely banned. The island is officially called Queimada Grande, and it's a pretty small island off the coast of Brazil in the Atlantic Ocean. At first glance, you might wonder what all the fuss is about. Looks pretty unassuming from a distance, but it's called Snake Island for a reason. The island is saturated in golden lancehead pit vipers. In fact, there are so many snakes on this island that every 3 feet of land has about 5 snakes. Considering that the island is 110 acres, that's a pretty crazy amount of snakes. This island was once part of the mainland, but was separated from it by rising sea levels. When this separating happened, the snakes on the island became stuck there. With no more natural predators, these things were given free rein, and they literally took over the island. Golden lancehead pit vipers are very, very dangerous. 95% of deaths caused by snake bites in Brazil are at the fangs of a golden lancehead. One bite from this menacing snake can kill a full-grown man within hours. Their venom is so potent it actually melts flesh. This is why no one's allowed to visit the island, because you likely won't survive a trip there. Snake Island is easily one of the most dangerous locations on the planet, and some sources say it is the most dangerous. Yeah, and I think I'd agree. There aren't really any other locations in the world where you're pretty guaranteed to die if you go there. So Snake Island is number 1 on this list of the top 15 most dangerous places to be. I'll see you next time.
Alright.
Think I'd agree. There aren't really any other locations in the world where you're pretty guaranteed to die if you go there. So Snake Island is number 1 on this list of the top 15 most dangerous places to be.
Okay, give this a thumbs up. The channel is called Top 5s. I'll put a link in the description below, so you can click on it, check it out, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And yeah, really enjoyed that. For me, I would say I enjoyed this one, Snake Island, and the one in Bolivia with the steep cliff edges. That's insane. Comment down below what's your favourite. Okay, let me bring this back to my main middle monitor. Hope you enjoyed the video and my reactions. If you're new, consider subscribing, turn on that notification bell, hit that thumbs up button. Helps out the channel, helps me out as well, lets YouTube know that you like this content. And until next time, which will be tomorrow for Friday, for Freaky Friday, I'm your host, Random Reactions HD, signing out for now. Bye bye and take care.